Valerie. I just want to thank you so much for joining me today for this conversation. I'm so excited to hear a little bit more about your journey and your experience.
Well, I'm happy to have this conversation, and I am excited about sharing my journey, like you mentioned, and kind of the road that we've been on with CX100 and myself personally to kind of get us where we are today.
Awesome. Well, then I guess let's get right into it. I think personally, I think that you have a very interesting story. So I would love it if you could take a few minutes to tell us how you came into the world of customer experience.
How far back do you want me to go?
Just like a quick little.
Sure, sure. So I think I've always said that this was kind of the my third career, if you will, which I think is an interesting message to females out there and to I guess female executives as well. That it's really never too late to get started or to follow a path that feels really exciting to you. I started, I guess, if you were going to look at my professional career, I started in the law field, which is really so different than where I ended up. But I finished school and then had already started a family. I was already married. I had a 1-year-old daughter and found out that we were moving with my then husband's job to Tucson, Arizona. So by the time we moved, I was expecting our second daughter and was really looking forward to being in a new town. And I was very young. So the opportunity to stay home with my children in a new community was really exciting to me. But very shortly thereafter, I kind of figured out that there were a lot of things that I could be doing while I was a stay-at-home mom. So I worked on fundraising for my children's schools. I had a Girl Scout troop, but more importantly, not more importantly, it wasn't more important. It was just different. And in addition to, I started a catering company. And I realized through that process that I really got a lot of pleasure and excitement and satisfaction out of marketing, out of sales, and out of working with people and putting together a business plan and things like that, and then executing on it myself because it was a one-man show. So it ended up being pretty successful, which is kind of exciting. And I did that for a couple of years. And then, unfortunately for me, I did get a divorce. So when my marriage ended, it was like, okay, where do I go now? What do I do now? And I really kept going back to that sales and marketing kind of time that I had with my catering company and thought that's what I really want to do. So I went into field sales with a couple of different organizations and really challenged myself to come out of my box, to get into my community and to figure out how to become a success in that vein. And it was pretty awesome. So I did that for several years. And through that process, I ended up getting into, through relationships and things like that, the staffing and recruiting business. So I ended up leading two staffing and recruiting offices, one for professional services and one for light industrial staffing, which ended up being, as I look back on it now, an amazing foundation for what I do today. Because at the end of the day, what we do in solutions integration and in technology is really put people into positions for other companies to help them establish their goals, which was really what we were doing in staffing and recruiting. So a lot of that experience has been, kind of followed me along my way. So did that for a long time, then ended up going into sales training and sales leadership in the telecom industry, which was, again, another great foundational beginning to my technology career because it exposed me to reporting and agent management and all sorts of different elements of technology that I use and sell and support today. So, they say God bless the broken road. That's absolutely what it was. It was all of these were different turns and twists leading me in the direction I ultimately ended up in. So through that process, I met someone who worked at SAP, and I would listen to them work sometimes, and I would think, I can do that. So I went out and I had zero technology implementation experience and even architecture, that type of thing. And I got some books on SAP and ERP and MII and analytics and all different things and started teaching myself and ultimately landed a job at SAP. And when I got there, I was definitely a solid 10 years older than the youngest person I met or that was on my team. So I knew I had to put some hustle in my game at that time and really worked very hard to differentiate myself and to separate myself from the group. Yes, I was a fresher, just like they were, but I wanted to make sure that I made a name for myself. So I did. And I worked at SAP for a few years, and it was an amazing education. And from there, I knew it was time to do something a little bit different after a few years and went out into the consulting world. And that's really where the CX dream started. I had always been drawn to what I'll call customer facing solutions, whether it be CRM, HCM, that type of thing. But I was given the opportunity in the consulting world to really choose what I wanted to do, which not everybody gets. So I'm very lucky to have been given that opportunity. And then to really follow that into the CX space. It was at the time that companies like SAP were making the move into the cloud, and they were acquiring companies like Hybris. And it was the beginning of something really great. So I'm very fortunate. And for the last decade at least, I have been focusing 100% on CX solutions and the CX portfolio from SAP. When we carved out CX100, the decision was made to be active from the point of strategy as opposed to leading with a particular platform or vendor, which I feel was like the next stage, not only in my evolution and in my career, but also from my team and from a company perspective to say, okay, we know SAP, we know what works, we know what customers like from this perspective, but we know that there are some other solutions out there that may actually help to optimize on their investments and help them realize their goals from a customer experience perspective. So that brought us to where we are today. And then with the acquisition of Inconic, um, another kind of dream came true, and that was to have full scope, full scope, full scope, end to end to end, and really start at design and integrate design with a design agency into every aspect of our business. So probably a long answer to a short question, but it's been an evolution for sure, and that's kind of how it came about.
I love that. I think that's such an amazing story. And I think one that's like inspirational for a lot of people and hopefully one that a lot of people can relate to.
I hope so too.
So I think you've made such big strides in your professional career. We've seen it in your experience and your journey that you just shared with us. And I think that especially this month with it being the end of Hispanic Heritage Month, it's even more important to give you the opportunity to share not only what it means to be a CEO of Hispanic heritage, but also as a female, as a Latina CEO.
Yeah, I really appreciate, first of all, even being recognized within that group because it's a small group. You know, when I started in the technology field, we had kind of a running joke at home when I would get home from my travels or my trips or meetings. The kids would say, you know, where was your meeting? Who was it with? And then they would say, how many women were in the room? And it was always one. And it was me. And then, and sometimes I didn't even really think of it that way. I didn't look at it that way, but it was that way. And it was important to recognize that, right? Especially for a group of young people that were coming up and making decisions about their own careers. It was important to say, hey, this is an underserved world when it comes to female representation. Then, as time went by, the number of females grew for sure. And I always took the time out whenever I saw another female or another minority, especially Hispanic, but not often Hispanic, very rarely Hispanic, not because I didn't recognize them rarely, but because they were rarely there, to say, hey, and I would say this, I am so proud of you. I'm proud to say I'm one of you. I'm proud to say that we're both here. I'm proud to say we're both at this table. Congratulations to you. Because only someone, good, bad, right, or wrong, however you want to take this, only someone who's been down that path understands what that means, understands what it means to say, I am proud of you for getting here. And I think it's really, really important to recognize one another. We are a competitive people, females, Hispanic females. We are. I mean, it just is what it is. It was kind of inbred, if you will. And we need to do better. We need to recognize one another and celebrate one another. And so, in this month and every month, I make it a point to celebrate Hispanic, Latin, and minority women in all areas of business because we deserve to be here. We're capable of being here, and we are doing a really good job. And I'm super excited when I'm on LinkedIn to see the number of female executives coming up in the ranks, the number of Hispanic, Black, and Brown, and Asian, and all minorities coming up into serious leadership decision-making roles, and even more excited and impressed to see how well we're all doing. My dad says it's because we've been forced to be multitaskers our entire life. There may be something to that, right? There may be, but I'm very proud.
Love that. Um, I think, especially in the tech industry, if we want to focus not only on the minorities, but if we want to just take a look at from a female perspective, I think especially in the tech industry, we're seeing more and more women at the with a seat at the table. I mean, you just discussed your evolution of seeing that happen. What would you say to girls around the world who can't imagine ever being at that table?
Oh, it's funny that you say that because you've traveled with me around the world pretty much. And I was asked a similar question when we were opening our office in India. And what I would say to those girls and those young women and women maybe not so young who don't think that they really have a place at that table is there's a seat there with your name on it, without a doubt. Yes, you have to put in the work. There's no doubt about it. But no one should be at that table who hasn't or who doesn't or who isn't willing to. But there is an opening now for us, for you. And it really just takes your interest in something like technology. I don't think that women even really considered technology a viable path for them because so many people who go into technology started there from an engineering perspective. So I think that the industry itself has really grown. And I applaud the global community as well, because this is definitely not an American initiative. This is a global initiative. And I see not yet equal representation, but definitely fair representation globally when it comes to females, to use your words, at the table, right? So what I would say to them is this world it's your oyster. If this is the area of business that you want to go into is technology, there is nothing but opportunity. If you're a nerd, if you're a geek, if you love coding and video games and that type of thing, please go into technology because there aren't enough females in those development roles. I'd love to see more females there. At our company specifically, I was looking at the numbers today, and we have a pretty even split, which is amazing to me. Definitely not purposely done, just kind of the way that it went. And what a great thing to report. What a great thing to see on a pie chart that we had equal representation, female and male, just by the nature of what we do. So it's a pretty exciting time. Don't sell yourself short. Like I said, we're reserving a seat for you right here at the table.
Love that. So let's end this conversation with a look to the future. You and I both know CX100 just recently passed our 1 year anniversary. Where do you see CX100 at the end of 2023?
At the end of 2023, we are going to be minimum doubled in size. So we'll be about 300 people. We're going to have a working, functioning, successful sales academy that we are feeding account executives into global and regional roles from. We are going to be certified partners in all of the platforms that we support. That is a big deal because education and continuing education will always be kind of core and center to our ability to deliver to our customers. And we'll be one of the best places to work. That I assure you,
I
both
love it.
in Asia Pac or India, Asia area, as well as North America. And I think you'll see us growing, I'm going to say, oh, significantly. I'm not going to give a number yet. I'm going to say significantly in terms of our revenue, but we are putting into effect right now all of the things to make that happen. All of the things, every goal that I've just talked about are things that we are working towards today and are hard goals for 2023. Of those things, I think that being one of the best places to work is the thing that's going to affect all of the rest the most. So, really looking forward to 2023, looking forward to bringing some exciting announcements to the marketplace in the new year. We've got a lot of things cooking, we've got a lot of growth happening, we've got some really exciting things to do and to accomplish. And, we want to continue to be a go to in this space. And the space is growing, and the list of why we're a go to is growing with it.
I love it. Well, I'm excited to be a part of the journey for the next year.
I don't know what I'd do without you.
So, last question, and this is when the floor is yours. Is there anything you want the viewers today to walk away with?
Yeah, I suppose so, right? I would like the viewers today to walk away with the fact that a company was created a little over a year ago, led by a Hispanic woman who had some really exciting dreams, along with her mentor and our company's founder, Deb, who I owe the world to. And we are working very hard to accomplish those by creating opportunities for people globally to support a brand that is all about their customer and their customer's customer. CX100, I want to be synonymous with great things and great people, and we are well on our way to that. And I hope that if anyone out there is looking to connect with maybe a female Hispanic executive, whether that be from just a soundboard, idea trading conversation, we don't always have to do business to have a relationship. So I would avail myself to anyone who's looking to accomplish the types of things that I have or the types of things that we are at CX100. I'm happy to share. I'd love to connect. And I look forward to meeting everyone in 2023.
Well, thank you so much, Valerie. I enjoyed this conversation so much, and I am looking forward into diving a little deeper into who you are, what you do in the world of customer experience.
Thank you, Lauren. I appreciate you.